Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. As you're aware, Bilal Abdul Kareem of OGN News and toqir Sharif of Live Updates from Syria have been arrested by Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. It's a very unfortunate set of events. These people went out there to help the Syrian people. They defended the Mujahideen with their tongues on the British media and on the media around the world, and always defended them and defended the Syrian people and provided aid to the Syrian people. toqir Sharif, the first time I met him was in 2012 on one of the first aid convoy meetings, delivering aid to the Turkish border to the Syrian people. There was a couple of more convoys and he decided to stay. He risked his life, his wealth, everything he ever had, he gave it to the Syrian people. And he gained the honourable title, the father of orphans. May Allah raise him in ranks. May Allah have mercy upon him. And may Allah help him in the situation that he is currently in. And look at Bilal Abdul Kareem. He got put on a US kill list, let alone having his citizenship withdrawn, all for the sake of Allah and the Syrian people. Do you remember the siege of Aleppo, the siege of Halab? So many died. So many suffered. And the regime was closing in. And we were behind our screens, wondering what's gonna happen to our brothers. And I remember they escaped behind blankets in the back of a pickup truck to go to Idlib. And even then, Bilal Abdul Kareem was defending the Mujahideen, being labelled all sorts because of it. A propagandist, AQ propagandist, so on and so forth. And now look at the situation they're in. Bilal Abdul Kareem spoke about HTS always having fights and confrontations with toqir Sharif about aid. They always wanted part of the aid or the money or the aid or the money or the aid. And just for standing up for the aid, because it's an amana, the money of the people in the West, he gets that money and he helps the Syrian people with it. He stood his ground. And then he was arrested for apparently being involved in activities contrary to the revolution. This is the story that they've put. So then he was arrested and they assaulted him. They beat him. He had scars. He lost weight. You could tell this man had been through something. How can you treat your Muslim brother like this? And I'm not going to sit here just shouting about ittaqillah to HTS and he shouldn't have done this and he shouldn't have done that. I want to speak about other things that led up to this and the actions of them themselves that put them in this situation as well. It's not just one-sided. So he looked like he'd been tortured, starved, oppressed. And you know, when I saw that picture, one of the things that came to my mind was one of the verses from the Quran, which was more regarding the messengers in Surah Yasin, but it just reminded me of this. A man came running from the furthest parts of the city to give sincere advice, to help the people. Then they killed him. Then it was just but one shout and they were extinguished. HTS, you need to fear Allah before his punishment rains down upon you. And the Syrian people are going to suffer. Because what's going to happen is, look what happened in Baghuz. Look what happened in Raqqa. Look what happened in Mosul. You are showing the world. You're showing the world that you're barbarians, that you're unjust, you're behaving like animals, and you're oppressing the very same people who came to help you, who used to fight your propaganda wars, who used to show you in a bright light. And then when they decide to be just and expose you for what you're doing to the people, levying taxes on the people of Idlib, kidnapping people, torturing people, oppressing people, taking their wealth, leaving people to starve, then you arrest them, torture them, and oppress them. Subhanallah. What are you? I thought you were mujahideen. I thought we could trust you. I thought we could trust you with the ummah and the Muslims. But look what you're doing to our brothers and sisters. Look how much they have helped you, the Syrian people. And you, the Syrian people within the ranks of the mujahideen, you do this to them? Subhanallah. And it brings me to the saying of a scholar. And this is the next thing I want to talk about. If speech is from silver, then silence is from gold. Now, we're in a war zone. Yeah? There's no law there apart from the law they are trying to establish. It is practically a lawless land. There's people's lives at risk. There's people's lives at stake. There is a battle, propaganda battle, a media battle, and a military battle on all fronts. The Russians, the Nusayris, the various different factions from the Mujahideen, all fighting, no unity. Now, you decide to open your mouth before thinking. Now, Dr. Shajul is being accused of covering up torture by the Mujahideen. But you see, Dr. Shajul is actually being diplomatic in the situation because there's way more at stake. There's way more at stake than the lives of one or two people. Dr. Shajul understands that what you speak about in Syria, online, on the media, it goes all around the globe to all of these official networks and all of these governments, all of these intelligence agencies, and it affects everyone on the whole. Most importantly, it affects the Syrian women and children, the Syrian people, because inevitably their future, a percentage of that is in your hands. So toqir Sharif was rearrested, and then people don't wonder why he was rearrested. If you're going to accuse someone of torture, you have to have the Shari evidence. You cannot shout out, "You tortured me," and bring out your phone to record the guy who tortured you. He's obviously going to arrest you and do you some harm. He's obviously going to lock you up. They're obviously going to do what they've done because you can't expose them like that. You're in a lawless land and you're going to point fingers and start screaming and shouting and then straight away jump on the media and say, "This person tortured me. The doctors covered up the torture. Now we have to bring it to the public." What, do you think the London Met is there or the FBI is there on the ground and they're going to bust him out and take him home or something? You're complaining about the people that your lives are in their hands. Think about that. The Syrian people's lives are in their hands. Yeah? And it's got to a situation now where we don't know what's going to happen to them. We don't know where they are, how they're coping, what's happening to them. All we can do is make dua for them. Yeah? So the point was, Bilal Abdul Kareem sent out that message and he's thinking he's done a great thing. Accusations of torture, exposing the doctor, yeah? And then he gets arrested within 5 seconds. These guys are smarter than this. They should know better than to do this. You should have done it behind the scenes, not on the camera. Because soon as you've done it, now you're in the same position as him. How are you going to help him? You can't help him now. And I'm sure some of the Western academics and these think tanks and bodies in the UK that are Middle Eastern Eye and all of these people that are putting out all these articles now, Yvonne Ridley, you name it, Cage NGO, they're probably thinking the same thing. If speech is from silver, then silence is from gold, especially in the internet age. Allahumma ansar Bilal Abdul Kareem. Allahumma ansar toqir Sharif. Allahumma ansar Muslimin fi kulli makan. May Allah be with you. May Allah forgive you. May Allah protect you. But you should have went about it in a totally different way. You're dealing with armed rebels in a lawless battlefield. You do not go online and make these accusations. You take it to the courts, you take it to the qadis, and you respect their privacy. Remember what happened in Baghuz, Mosul and Raqqa? You think that can't happen to you? Everything that's happening, how do you know? You have not given the Western governments the perfect opportunity to send in the drones, to send in the fighter jets, to bomb the Mujahideen to bits. And then what's going to happen to the Syrian people? They're going to end up in the dungeons of Bashar to be raped, tortured and killed. May Allah protect the Ummah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Anything good that I have said is from Allah, and anything bad that I have said is from myself, my nafs and shaitan. May Allah enable us all to be sincere, and I hope this video, there is khair in it, there is benefit in it, and it raises awareness and hopefully does some sort of good in this terrible situation. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.